The girl's loud scream echoed through the area. The bullet hit the hero in the stomach. The bandit also stated that this is entirely the guy's fault because no one called him to become a hero. He passes by. Zietian fell to the floor, noticing that the pair would return to where they left off. In the moment the guy gets to his feet and attacks the bandit from behind. A quick and accurate punch. He knocks the gun out of the bully's hands, then pushes it in the back, knocking it down, forcing it to fall. Tears welled up in the woman's eyes. She doesn't believe in miracles happening right in front of her eyes. In that moment the hero starts coughing up blood, clutching at the gunshot wound in his stomach. Zietian limps towards the exit, asking the mother and daughter to follow him. The woman is the same. He thinks he needs to call an ambulance because he was shot. The hero for some reason does not. He can go to the hospital, so he suggests that we go to him home because that one is nearby. After a while, the trio gets home. The woman takes out a first aid kit and begins dressing the wound. She still suggests that the guy go to the hospital because it is difficult to stop the bleeding. Zietian also feels that his body has become somewhat different, so if he goes to the hospital, then they can be treated like a lab rat. The hero is immersed in himself, not noticing environment. At this time, the woman notices that something glows in the guy's pocket. She gets it. Yellowstone, trying to understand what it is, but the precious thing gets very hot. It's fast, so she lets go abruptly, feeling hot. A pebble falls on the hero's wound. Glow. It gets more intense, and when it's all over, the girl unwraps the bandages to make sure that it's all over. Check the guy's wound, but there's nothing there. She finds it hard to believe her eyes. At this point a girl enters the room, determined to find out about her older brother's condition. The mother informs her child that the older brother is fine, but he needs to be given time to recover. Rest. Zietian wakes up after a while. He feels a strange rush in his body. Forces. He immediately notices that in the room, in addition to him, there is a rescued mother and daughter. He understands that the last memories are not a dream, but the representatives of the fair sex is sleeping. The dark-haired man also notices that his wound is gone, and in the place where it should be. It must have been a strange yellow pebble. The hero picks it up, assuming that it was this thing that cured him. He starts to get dressed. A lot has happened recently. What used to be his normal life has completely changed. First the necklace, then Master Tai Chi and ancient antiques. As Zietian finishes dressing, realizing that there's no one behind him anymore, the doorbell rings. Someone starts knocking. He opens the door. Quicksand had descended on him. It turns out, it's been a few days and he hasn't even started looking. The guest decides to find out if the guy is really looking for death, because he only had today left, or he would find it, or he would die. Zietian reminds me that he didn't know about any scroll, so how would he find it? The other person does not perceive these words seriously, saying that Zietian is determined to go against Quicksand. The hero is trying to figure out what to do. Now he has eyes that see right through everything, but he still can see their movements. He doesn't want to admit it, but his chances of dying are today large enough. At this time, a lone figure standing on a branch is watching what is happening. A tree. The enemy attacks the hero. He dodges the first blow, then goes on the defensive in order to let your eyes adjust to your opponent's speed. Mentally, he calls himself to gather himself and fully focus on the fight. After a few seconds, he catches the maskman's hand, and then, which sends it flying. He twists in the air, recognizing Fang Lao's Tai Chi technique. A little surprised that the guy managed to learn the techniques of Fang Lao, so he decides that dragging out the fight for too long will be problematic, so he's in a hurry to get it over with. Hurry up, breaking off in the direction of the hero. The opponent is stopped by a teapot flying at him. He stops, noticing the appearance of a woman, a new actor. The girl left the house, demanding uninvited guests to get out. In her hands is an iron, which she is not averse to throwing at someone. Zietian doesn't understand what she's doing. She does, so he urges her to return to the house immediately. The beauty reminds that he saved. They have a life, so she can't let anything happen to him. Hero exhaling heavily, admitting that he really hated her, but he didn't expect her to show such courage. When he can't back down either, a member of Quicksand asks why they're flirting if they're going to die soon. At this moment, a man with long white hair flies over the wall. Beautiful snow-white suit and katana on the belt. His appearance comes as a surprise for everyone. The trio immediately turns around, recognizing the man as Jian Yuan Huang, the swordmaster. One in the whole world. The man unsheathes his weapon and for a few light and easy steps, he deals with two opponents. The third one tries to leave unnoticed, but the master, Mecha, asks him to pick up his comrades. He carries out the order, capturing members of the group and running away. The white-haired man approaches the hero and asks if he is Zietian. Last one confirms the other person's words, mentally emphasizing that this person was so fast that even he couldn't. I noticed his movements. The man says that the guy is very similar to him, and that he has the same courage. Zietian's eyes light up, and he immediately asks if the other is referring to him, his father, and whether he knew his father. The swordmaster doesn't answer the guy's questions, calling for a crush, a stone and a necklace. The hero grabs his jewel, not understanding why he should destroy your mother's inheritance. The interlocutor asks the guy not to worry, because this stone was added by his father later, so that inside is his mother's legacy. Zietian is a little doubtful, because even if it's true, how can it be true? He can crush a rock with his bare hands. The next thing I know, he's got one hand on his arm, a stone that turns to dust. Opening his palm, he discovers a small scroll inside, along with small pieces of glass. Zietian realizes that he has what those quicksand people asked him about in his hands. The man explains that his father wanted the guy to keep it carefully, so it was hidden in his most important pendant. The hero becomes interested in who his father was. Master Mecha cannot give an exact answer because the guy's father would like him to live a normal life in peace and quiet, so the only thing he can tell him is that his father was a great man. Hearing these words, the brunette notes that his life has already ceased to be the life of an ordinary person. It turns out that the interlocutor is precisely because of this and appeared now. He wants Zietian to become his disciple. The hero is a little surprised by this, but after a moment he pulls himself together and gets to his knees, greeting the master. The swordmaster also notices that before the college entrance exam, there were less than 6 days left, and it was his father's wish that he pass the exams, so the man urges the student not to miss it, and about training he calls him come to him every day after school to study. Zietian takes these words to heart. For your information, the swordmaster leaves, and the girl runs up to the guy, helping him up and clarifying whether everything is fine with him. The hero says nothing, mentally glad that he is no longer a loser, which may be inactive. The next day comes pretty quickly. Zietian goes to school. Halfway to it, he is overtaken by Hot Pepper, who asks, when will the master teach her martial arts? The hero also asks not to molest him, noting that he himself should learn martial arts from his master. The girl with red hair, I thought they agreed that if she became his wife, he would teach her martial arts. The brunette does not understand when he managed to give her a positive answer, because she is not at all in his taste. Hot Pepper is angry, but holds back his mood, deciding to find out what type of girls he likes. To the master, Zietian reports that at the very least, he doesn't like girls in this kind of clothing. In a non-standard form, two friends urge Sister Ho to stop. That already somehow holds back, and when she comes to, she says it's just makeup, so she'll change it. It also encourages you to change your friend's makeup. Zietian goes to a fast food restaurant, where it's already waiting for him somehow. The cousin confesses that the guy scared her to death yesterday, so she wonders if it's okay. After all the subsequent problems were solved by Master Zhu. The girl suggests, call Tom and thank him for his help. Zietian reports that everything is already in order and not worth it to be worried. After all, he had spoken to Senior Zhu on the phone. It turns out that the old man himself. I thanked the guy because he agreed to take part in the tournament for his sake, so that settle the differences between him and his nephew. But looking at his influence, his strength is quite strong. It is significant, so that the fact that he owes the hero a favor is not a loss. Zietian takes a sip of her coffee. After that, the blonde snatches the cup out of his hands, calling him a pervert because this is her stake. Zietian nervously apologizes. The cousin is glad that the guy is fine, but she wants to ask him for something. The hero asks when his relative started begging him. He replies that she is not begging him, but asking him to do something for her. These words cause laughter from the dark-haired man, who notices that this is the true nature of his cousin. The other one doesn't like the guy taunting her. It turns out that a relative wants to. The guy is playing basketball for the art department this afternoon. At this point to their table, the company of two goons and a beauty is suitable. The latter clarifies, really opponents. They are in search of external assistance. The guest reveals that she has heard that her art department is full of women and that she can't even recruit enough people to play basketball. These words make her cousin angry, but she doesn't like them. There is nothing to answer that. Zietian enters the case, who notices the girl's gorgeous figure. Height 175 centimeters, leg length 114 centimeters. He considers this. The body is perfect, so invites beauties to come to him to become his little one. My little wife. These words greatly anger the interlocutor, who calls him a descendant, after which she turns to the hero's cousin, saying that she just adds to the number of people with such people, so she'd better admit defeat now. The cousin says that she should not care who she finds. It turns out that between the two, the girls had a bet. If Zhu wins it, then the beauty opposite will have to call her sister Zhu when she sees her in the future, but if her cousin loses, then she will have to call out the other person is Sister Yan. Xia Tian, on the other hand, sees that the bet is the problem and just enjoys it. A view. He automatically takes a Coke and sips it through a straw. Blonde Fest finds a missing item. The hero breaks into a conversation between two representatives of the fair sex, wanting to conclude a conversation with Yan. The latter decides to clarify what are the bets in the bet. The bid is very high. Look at this basketball game. If she loses, then from now on, she will be his little wife, and when she sees him, she should call him big husband. Hearing this, the beauty hurries to put her foot on the guy's face, saying that he is looking for death. Xia Tian gets up a little, catching Beauty's kick behind the lower part of her shin. This is embarrassing to me. Yan's sisters, however, the cousin does not allow the hero to enjoy it, prescribing a powerful slap on the head. After all, she doesn't understand what he's doing. After recovering, the girl agrees to the bet. Its terms and conditions. These are, if the guy loses, he will run naked around the school. After that, the beauty leaves with the members of her basketball team. Zhu gets angry, starting to beat the relative with his fists, and saying that he still has a lot of audacity, because he wants to, so that her nemesis could become his wife. The hero also reminds that only a small wife. In his mind's eye, he notices that there's only one fist that he won't dare dodge, and that's it. His cousin's fist. A few hours later, a warm-up session begins on the basketball court. Teams. Sister Yan states that she will only send one level 1 player this time and uses all other second-level resources. We can say that this is a small handicap for opponents. However, she notes that the opponent should not be told that she is bullying her. After putting on the team uniform and walking next to her cousin, Xia Tian decides to find out if these are all players who are playing in the team. They have. This question is very important, because they don't even have a basic quantity. Interviewee asks you to wait a bit. The group approaches two guys. This is Hu Peng and Yan Zhu, third parties. My cousin's assistants. The hero exhales heavily, admitting that at least the basic, the number of players they have. At this time, the audience in the stands, namely several girls, starts supporting Fang Lai. Zhu, hearing this name, stiffens up a little. A handsome blonde man walks out onto the playground. He confesses that he loves flowers' applause and he knows he's handsome, but he just wants to be a nice guy in peace and quiet. It turns out, Fan Lai is their main player. He's tall, good with the ball, and very popular. Little Sister Yan grabs the blonde man by the ear, telling him that he's a real narcissist and that she'll let him go and drink her special drink if he only cares about being beautiful and mess up her business. The guy begs for mercy, noting that if she tells him, she will score 50 or even more. 100 points. The hero exhales heavily, noticing to his regret that even to cheer for, there's no one in the art department. At this moment, a familiar blonde appears, who is dressed in a black suit, a very explicit form of support. Xia Tian's nose starts to bleed, and he is very confused, mentally trying to turn on the radio. Pass through view mode. The hero and his team enter the playground. Yan Zhu notes that they can play in any position, but they should remember to pass the ball to him when they have it. The dark-haired man knows in his mind that it would be better if these two could win the game alone, because he doesn't want to show his strength on the basketball court yet. The ad platform. The match begins, and a few moments later a ball is thrown into their ring. Instead, Xia Tian realizes that things won't be as simple as he would like. The guy with purple hair gets the ball and starts analyzing the situation on the court. He tries to find someone to pass to, but his friend Hu Peng has already been blocked. The latter breaks down from his seat, which is why another member of the enemy team. I have to take my mind off it. At this point, the hero gets a free corridor, getting ability to receive the ball. Yan Zhu notices this. Before the purple-haired guy could make a pass, an enemy forward knocked the ball out of the box. His hands. The hero could only wonder why a member of his team hadn't given someone a pass in all that time. The first part of the match comes to an end and the break begins. The score is 40-0 in favor. The enemy. Yan Zhu swears at his team, believing that what is happening is not their fault, because they, two professionals, and how can they manage 3 amateurs? The guy with glasses reminds the professionals that they were immediately told about the situation when they came to play, so he sees no reason to scold them if they can't beat them now. The second ball notices that it's not even that they can't help at all, but that the pros just don't give them the ball. Yanzu declares that he doesn't care, and that now he is. He plays more because this score can no longer be corrected. The blonde decides to find out what they should do. Wu Kingsu, after all, if both of them left, they wouldn't have enough players. The guy with the purple hair. He also made a mental note that if two beautiful girls came and begged him, he would. I might have changed my mind. All the plans of the impudent spoils the hero. He approaches the guys from the art department, asking them to do it. A replacement in the team. Telling Zietian that they can't win back as a challenge. He declares that he will show them the difference in abilities. Yanzu yells at the guy, thinking that he's a bad guy. He's gone mad, and if he can get his revenge, he'll be barking like a dog in here. Announce the beginning. The second round. Yanzu decides to see what other tricks the guy is capable of. His companion notes that basketball is a real men's sport, so he is interested in how the guy is doing. Try to win with a bunch of weaklings. The forward of the enemy team sees that the opposite side has quarreled, so there is very little left to play. Sister Yan asks him to keep scoring 3-pointers. The match starts. Zietian receives the ball, then jumps under her basket. Audience, they don't understand how he's going to throw the ball out of his own basket. The ball goes into the enemy basket. This is shocking to everyone. The commentator calls this roll a new masterpiece because the ball crossed the entire court before it hit the basket. It calls Zietian is a basketball genius. The latter raises a finger to the sky, saying that this is only the beginning of the game. Beginning. A cousin and a friend watch in shock. Enemy team counts. What is happening is a real madness because this is simply impossible. The ball falls back into your hands. Zietian. He deftly circles all the players of the enemy team, approaching the enemy basket. He easily throws the ball into the basket. After some time, the match ends. The invoice turns out to be in favor of the hero's team, 40-111. All the audience applauds, saying how it was cool and mesmerizing. The team supports Zietian, and the cousin and her friend are happy to win with him. At that time, two professionals who previously claimed that this match is impossible to win, call it. Get lucky and try to just walk away, ignoring the hero. The same guy asks the guys not to leave, because he said he would bark like a dog. Yanzu claims that they are all in cahoots, so this doesn't count. He offers to compete again, and if Zietian wins, he will bark like a dog. These words unsettle the hero, but he says that he is not afraid of his own. The enemy. At this time, Sister Yan confesses to herself that this boy is really a genius, and if she can get him on the basketball team, it's even harder for her. Imagine how strong it will be in the future, but there is one caveat. The girl is strong. I care about their bet. He closes his eyes and cringes, not understanding how she can do something like that to someone. Name. At this time, the hero passes next to her, asking how about what she previously did. I was talking about a bet. The cousin asks the relative to forget and leave the rival alone, because I didn't think she'd keep her promise. The beauty shouts loudly that she does not belong to the type of person for whom this word is just an empty phrase. Much embarrassed, she calls the opponent Sister Zhu, and the hero a big husband. Zietian, startled by what has happened, looks after the fleeing beauty and asks, is this really true? Normal. At this point, Zhu notices that it sounded like she was shouting at the other person. To her husband, the guy exhales heavily, relieving the accumulated fatigue. It's all just a little thing. Everyday life, which is not so important. After school, the hero goes not to himself, home, but to your master. Zietian greets his master. The latter goes straight to the point, saying that his father. I never said anything about martial arts because I didn't want him to follow his path. However, he has entered this world, and he will fulfill his promise to his father. Man announces that from today on, he will be teaching the boy the immortal steps of the wandering ones. Clouds and sharp fingers. Sharp fingers attract the attention of the hero because he saw this, a martial art technique only in the series. It seems to have been performed by Lu Xiaofeng. He's a little surprised that such a martial art really exists. The master replies that it is a famous technique of his father in those days. From this, Zietian makes the assumption that which his father must have been a master of in the past. He wants to learn more about his own business. Close. The master also says that he has never practiced these two martial arts techniques, so he will teach the guy only inner strength techniques. The brunette understands that the interlocutor is clever. Gone off topic, the man explains that the immortal steps of the wandering cloud come from I Ching and 8 trigrams, and sharp fingers focus on acupuncture points on the body, human and attack accuracy. Speaking of this, his father had asked him to study 100 schools since he was a child. Thoughts? The I Ching, the 8 trigrams, the acupoints of the human body, all of this is for him. My father taught. At the time, he thought it was his father's hobby, but he didn't realize it was the foundation that has been laid for it ever since. After some time, the wizard emphasizes that the guy has the best talent he's ever seen, and that he'll be able to bring it out. Take your father's art to a new level. In one of the buildings, two guys get attached to Zoo. They offer the beauty a drink together with them and relax. At the same time, one of them grabs the fair sex by the hand. She tries to break away, demanding to be released. At that moment, Yin appears around the corner. Zoo, the hero's cousin, asks him to help her, but the guy sets conditions. He is being called. The other person can become his girlfriend, and then he will help her. Zoo is amazed that the guy is trying to take advantage of the fact that a person is in danger. At this moment, a friend with yellow hair comes out into the corridor from one of the rooms along with me. Your young man. The latter asks what the guys are doing and then calls. Release Sister Kingsu. My friend wants to know what happened in the first place. Annoying people. They leave with a warning that they will come back again. Yinzu also says that the girl will not be able to escape this trouble because their sports department sings very close. However, if she agrees be his girlfriend, then he'll send someone here. Kingsu says that the interlocutor should not even think about it. Then the guy with the purple hair decides to put it aside because he's not a big fan of the world. I wanted to talk about the bet. At this moment, a bully appears behind him, about 2 meters tall, with a bald head. He asks if he is the beauty's boyfriend. Yinzu gives a quick and the nervous reply that he didn't know her at all. This only makes the hero's cousin angrier. The big guy suggests that Kingsu go out and have a drink with him. Guys from the girls' department come out. Go ahead, urging the bald man not to molest girls. You can see that there are doubts and fear on their faces. However, they intend to protect the two beauties. Muscle cars for small school children. Get out of his sight or he'll accidentally break their necks. The hero's cousin understands the situation. It's gotten really bad, so she grabs her phone. At this time, Zietian is doing a dumbbell workout at her home, covered in sweat after a very intense exercise with iron. He picks up the phone with an unknown number. After finding out his cousin's voice and understanding the situation, he instantly agrees to come to the place of events. Hero, he throws on his shirt, making a mental note that it's time to practice his skills, taught by the master. First of all, he wants to hone the immortal steps of wandering clouds. The guy takes off at an incredible speed. His movements are so fast that it overtakes cars moving on the roadway. One of the drivers notices this, startled, trying to figure out what it is. The hero quickly arrives at the place of events. During this time, two bandits manage to scatter the nerds who have come to the defense of two friends. Baldy's partner. I warned them that it was none of their business, but the guys still stood up for the beauties. It didn't pass a lot of time. The big guy threw them around, saying that they didn't even know what they were made of. Instead, he approached Kingsu, noting that this room has very good sound insulation, so even if they yelled at the top of their lungs, no one would hear them. At this point, the mysterious voice of the guest informs that not only will not hear, but no one will. They'll see it. Using her martial art, Zietian makes it to her home in time. A relative. The bald man is a little surprised, not understanding where this kid came from. His companions. They emphasize that they have not seen it before and did not notice its appearance. The hero accepts. Take a fighting stance, knowing that it's time to test your sharp fingers. The bald man orders his subordinates to beat the impudent man to death. Crowd together with their leader. It breaks down on the hero, but the latter easily passes by the huge big man, quickly dealing with his henchmen. It doesn't take him even 2 seconds. The big guy turns around, seeing the defeated subordinates and the boy who stands with his back to him, with his hands in his pockets. Kingsu can't believe her eyes as she realizes that this is Zietian. Her friends, too. They are impressed by its strength and speed. Zietian slowly turns his head with a very hostile look towards the last scoundrel. The other one nervously asks who the hell he is. The brunette slowly approaches him and he grabs hold of his t-shirt, explaining that he said earlier that this room is well soundproofed. After that, without waiting for a response from the bald man, he kicks him into the room. Hero follow the big guy inside, noting that no one will come, even if he shouts at you. The whole throat. Zietian slams the door behind her. Cousin and her friends hear the sounds of blows, falls and screams of pain, and then the sound of bones breaking. They look at each other in shock, afraid. Even imagine what's going on there. A few seconds later, the brunette leaves the room, saying that everything is over. Inside, there is a battered big man whose face is swollen. The room itself is a mess. The bald man lost consciousness from the beating. The police run into the building. Some of the girls seeing this asks what's going on. Another replies that she heard there was a fight inside. Bandits. After a couple of minutes, the hero is taken outside, going to pick up the department. Kingsu against this because he doesn't understand why the police are doing this, because he is the one who saved them. The uniformed man calmly explains that they just picked him up to help out in investigation. After that, he asks the girl not to interfere in their affairs. Zietian asks his cousin not to worry, because his case should not be treated as an attack, but rather as an attack, like self-defense, so nothing will happen to him. The girl still doubts it. Into this time, the bald man is taken away by a nurse. The big guy demands to find him the best lawyer. Then he calls for finding Mr. Liu, because it can't end like this. Kingsu mentally notes that she doesn't know what other trump cards he has, so she decides to deal with the matter. In advance, the girl starts calling her mom. Kingsu calls her mother, saying that something has happened to Zietian. The woman replies that she already knows everything, so her daughter doesn't have to worry because she'll take care of the rest. The woman drops the phone, dialing another number. She calls Mr. Zhu, expressing her opinion, the desire to help out one guy. The man on the phone says that if it's not very important, then he can't do anything about it. Then the representative of the fair sex reveals the details, saying that the person whom she wants him to save her long son. These words shock the other person. He quickly realizes that the situation is changing dramatically, so he asks to wait, assuring that he will take care of it. After that, the woman stops the call. Someone in the room asks if everything is alright. Miss Ita says that everything is fine, so she suggests that we continue talking about Bingbing. Zietian leaves the police station. He immediately notices the oddity because they said that they want to sue him for assault and bodily harm, but he was released after the incident. One phone call. The hero does not have time to walk a few meters as he starts to call your phone number. He picks up the phone, whereupon a voice on the other end of the line notes that he's on the phone. A very capable guy, and all of a sudden he's a good fighter, so they ask him if he's met someone else. Yin Nai. The hero quickly puts the picture together in his head, realizing that his aunt helped him, but he, a little surprised that aunt knows Yin Nai. The guy informs her that the latter is the master. The woman admits that she thought so she calls the interlocutor. Come to see her tomorrow because she wants to have a serious conversation with him. The woman sheds. He hung up, leaving Zietian to ponder. He wonders what his aunt has to say to him. Moving down the street in the late afternoon, the guy finds a street restaurant and decides to have dinner. Here, the brunette takes one of the empty tables, starting to study the menu. At this point to him, a girl in a gorgeous red dress approaches, asking if they can share a table with him. Next to the speaker is another beautiful woman wearing a tracksuit. A representative of the fair sex refers to the hero as a brother. Zietian declares that it is an honor to eat at the same table with such two beautiful people. Girls, the previously silent representative of the fair sex emphasizes that you just had to say yes or no, and you didn't have to flirt with anyone. When beauties sit down, a friend in a red dress asks the girl not to be like this because this guy, just kind. Unexpectedly, the hero carefully examines the grumpy girl, after which he claims that she's sick. This drives the beauty out of herself because she thinks that he is trying to insult her. Girl. He throws insults in response, noticing that she will put him in jail for harassment. Zietian is the same. He explains that she is mistaken because he is not harassing her, but simply says that she is very ill. He decides to ask her if she's been suffering from insomnia, dry mouth, and bad mood lately. Moods. After that, the guy emphasizes that if he is not mistaken, she will not live to see 30 years old. The interlocutor with a sinking heart asks how the stranger knows all this. Zietian takes a closer look at the beauty, then says that to be precise, he'll only live to be 27. Then the beauty is surprised to realize that she will be 27 next year. The sister asks not to believe a loved one in the words of a stranger. The patient rises from the table, stating that she doesn't want to eat anymore. Her sister is in no hurry to leave, wanting to know if there are a cure for this disease. The brunette also notes that now the girl is so angry that if he'd told her about the treatment, she'd have jumped on him and beaten him up. My sister is in deadly pain. Still, find out what the treatment is. Zietian replies that you should become his wife. At first, this surprises the interlocutor, and then she laughs, noting that the young man has a sense of humor. Beauty gets up from her seat and she leaves her business card on the table, emphasizing that she is going to change her sister's mind, and he should not forget to call her later. After that, she goes up to the hero and kisses him on the forehead, saying that they are agreed. This puts the hero, who is clearly not ready for something like this, into a stupor. The sister goes to get her loved one, asking them to wait for her. Zietian is also nervous. She just came up to him and kissed him on the forehead, but she didn't ask him anything about the price. The next morning, the hero runs into a multi-story building. He's sweaty and tired, visible that he had run a marathon before. It turns out that the guy is already late for a meeting. After reaching the right floor, Zietian grabs the handle and opens the door without hesitation, apologizing to my aunt for being late. Then he stops abruptly, realizing that he's in the middle of something. There are not only his aunt in the room, but also 2 other people, one of whom he is vaguely aware of. A sign. This person turns out to be the sick girl Bingbing that he met yesterday. The aunt, seeing the reaction of the young man and the girl, asks if they know each other. Bingbing. He says she can't possibly know such a scoundrel. The woman next to her, presumably the mother, asks her to calm down. Missy is also in a hurry to find out what the hero did to the girl, since she did so. She speaks highly of him. The brunette replies that he didn't do anything. Aunt decides to get down to business, claiming that this is the fiancé she found for him. At the same time, the woman points to the guy. These words leave both Zietian and Bingbing speechless. The latter is blown up from the spot, stating that it's not the same as what she asked for. The girl wanted a tall and majestic, beautiful man. A charming, courteous and elegant young man. Missy claims that she is not asking Bingbing to marry him, but she just wants to help her father get over it. Tough time. The hero also mentally notes that his aunt is so brave that he can't even tell her. Object. The trio gets up from their seats and bows, thanking the woman for her help. When they are deleted, they are. Tian decides to find out what all this means and if she wants him to pretend to be her fiancé. Missy gives a positive answer. According to her, Mayor Lin is a good person, but he has no. His daughter is being chased by Yu Wenhao from the Yu Wen family, so his aunt suggests use your hero as a shield to help them. Zietian is amazed at how much his aunt trusts him. He decides to find out if she really wants him to. Fought with such a powerful family. Missy explains that she knows that tigers don't happen children from dogs. The brunette notes that she says so, but he doesn't even know what his parents are like if she doesn't tell him anything about them. Missy notices that in exchange for his help, she will give him some information. The woman claims that the boy's mother is still alive. These words, they put the guy in a state of shock. When he moves away, he gets even more questions. He wants to know where his mom is and what's wrong with her. My aunt says it would be better if he won't know it. Before getting into the car, Missy asks the guy to take care of Kingsu if one day she will. It will also disappear. These words strike Zietian to the core, because he doesn't quite understand what's going on. Happens. The next day, the hero notes that after his aunt said this, he didn't want any more ask questions, because she had a reason not to tell him, but he didn't expect her to take advantage of the opportunity and set a task for them. The guy thinks he's weak, doesn't he? I agreed easily. In his memories, a picture of a bygone day pops up, where his aunt asks for help, a favor for her, and he automatically agrees. The memory is interrupted by a girl's voice shouting about the thief. The guy turns around and sees how the girl's bag was stolen by an unknown person on a motorcycle. The thief flies past Zietian, looking at him carefully. The other man clenches his fingers into a fist, emphasizing that he had arrived just in time, for he was just looking for a way to vent his anger. The dark-haired man focuses on himself, then takes off using immortal steps. Wandering clouds. The thief steps on the gas, laughing under his helmet, because he believes that no one can catch up with him. In the moment the hero is level with the motorcycle, beads of sweat float up on the criminal's face and from his lips. The question breaks down about who he is, since he can catch up with him. Zietian doesn't respond, making a mistake. Jump at an incredible speed. With a powerful kick, Zietian knocks the thief off the vehicle, sending him sprawling on the asphalt. The bike loses control and falls on its side at high speed. The hero catches it, a stolen bag, emphasizing that the criminal deserved it. In the next instant, he senses danger. A girl in a tracksuit strikes. A kick hits the hero's head, but he grabs the beauty's leg with his free hand. The attacker's pupils, narrowed by a silly coincidence. The guy lets go of Bingbing's leg, realizing that he has collided again with her. The girl calls Zietian a scumbag, saying that her name is Lin Bingbing. After that, it takes out from her pocket is a police badge, announcing that she is a police officer and the guy suspected of robbery, because she caught him with a stolen bag. Beauty orders a young man walk with her. Zietian tries to make some excuses, realizing just how much she has to do with it. This situation is ridiculous. At this point, the victim of this incident runs up to them, a member of the fairer sex, claiming that it wasn't Zietian. The girl who came running in a hurry says that the guy was not the one who stole her bag, but he is the one who helped bring it back. Bingbing grabs his head, saying that it sounds a bit much. It's confusing. The hero points his finger at the bag thief, while the police officer deals with. As a burglar, Zietian hands the stolen bag to the girl. She thanks him with words, and then he wants to repay the kindness with money, so he holds out a bill. The guy does not accept money, which surprises the girl a little. He's a little surprised that I forgot, so he hurries to remind me that he borrowed money from her at the hospital, but a long time ago. I should have returned it, but I forgot. The other woman looks surprised, but she doesn't say anything. I remember his name, but I remember what he did, because he's the one who didn't take 5 million. Hero a bit. I hate to hear it, but he still reminds the girl of his name. The nurse thanks you for today, asking if the guy will have time now, because she would like to. I wanted to invite him to dinner. Zietian replies that it's another time, because he has something else to do today. He starts running away. Bingbing tries to stop him, because she needs to take some money from him. Surprisingly, the guy uses his martial art and quickly disappears from view. The police officer tries to understand why this man is running so fast. The girl enters room number 888. She apologizes for tardiness, saying that she encountered one case right on the street and just delivered the thief to the police station. Her eyes widen when she sees Zietian in the room, who is calmly drinking tea. That is, a cocktail through a straw. Bingbing nervously asks why it's him again, and why it's always him. The hero decides to find out why she doesn't ask how he's doing. The woman informs that this time the girl will need to work together with him. Bingbing incredulously, he asks if this is about Zietian. The woman confirms, saying that the mission is to track down the location where the third-level assassin, Dark Knight, is hiding. Once they complete this assignment, they will be able to join the Special Operations Division. The girl clearly has doubts about this, but she does not have time to express them, because the woman, he interrupts her, telling her to remember the Special Operations Division's rule: don't ask questions about people or things that it has nothing to do with. After that, she turns to the hero by passing him a folder of documents that contains all the information about the person he is looking for. I have to find him before he knows. A woman notices that if a guy wants to learn more, as for his father's death, then he should do as he is told. Evening comes. A two-man team is moving down the street. Bingbing warns the guy that this is her only chance to get into special operations, so if it fails, then she would make him suffer. The brunette emphasizes that he was asked to help her, and she didn't even know what to do. I thanked him. The girl declares that she does not need his help, because she does not see how he can help her. The brunette offers to pass a very simple test. He points a finger at the woman, asking her if she's a good girl. The interviewee, what he does. Bingbing turns on analytics, saying it looks like white collar from the office or a bank employee. Zietian believes that this person is a security guard. The girl thinks that the guy is joking, because the guards do not dress like that. The hero noticed that he said that he was a security guard, but he did not say that he was at work. Now, after that, he notices that the girl is now in normal clothes. In that moment, the man in question is approached by a young man and asks why the man in question is a young man here in these clothes. The reason for the dispute between two people reports that he worked in the shift of the interlocutor. I didn't have time to change. Bingbing freezes in shock, deciding to ask how Zietian found out. Last, explains that his suit and shoes were clean and well-groomed, which means that he usually doesn't. He wears a suit like this, and whenever a car appears in the parking lot, he can't appreciate it. The width of the parking space. A representative of the fair sex is impressed. Zietian clarifies how the girl thinks now, whether he is worthy to help her now. Bingbing replies that then he could continue to help her find her goal. They go into a bar together. On a small stage at the console is a girl with pink hair. It calls for, show the dancers your hands and repeat after her to swing together. Bingbing asks for a boyfriend. Tell them how they'll find him now. Zietian offers to dance with him. This is a bit surprising. A beautiful woman, but she decides to act. Noticing her partner's movements, Zietian points out that she'll take care of finding him, but she doesn't have to move so unnaturally. Bingbing doesn't think he can find someone by looking in a dark place like this. Your own. She doesn't voice her doubts out loud, giving her partner a dubious look. The hero is the same. He believes that as long as he has these eyes, he can find him, even if he is in the dark or disguised. After a few moments, the guy notices that the target is not in this room, but the girl. He recalls that they were given this information by intelligence. Then the hero reports that intelligence can be loyal too, so they should wait. To make it look like a couple, he puts his hand on the table. your partner's shoulder. The same one throws it away, telling you not to touch it. Zietian raises his hands to show that he has given up and understood perfectly. Thereafter, he calls out to the bartender, wanting a few drinks to blend in with the crowd. At this point, he notices why. At the back entrance, a middle-aged man with his hair combed to the side. He lights a cigarette at the door. Using a lighter, the hero realizes that this is exactly the person they were looking for.